At the beginning of all time, two powerful beings were questioning their very existence, because they didn't know how they had been created. So on a great occasion, both beings were able to meet face to face, while one of the beings was a very handsome man named Keiga, which his eyes were a bright blue color, unlike the other entity, which was a very beautiful woman with silver hair. However, both warriors possessed an incredible... Who are you? I thought that only I existed in this whole vast universe. First of all, you have to address me as His Excellency, since a simple guy like you is not lucky enough to know my name. Don't you know that I'm the first existence of this whole place? You're totally wrong, honey, since the first existence is me. Kaiga was able to say anything more, was sent to fly to a planet that was nearby, but these planets did not possess life at all, so Mayuki would throw hundreds of energy arrows at his rival, which, realizing that hundreds of attacks were directed towards him, and being much more, he was unable to dodge all. Divine Restraint! As if it were a mirror, all Mayuki's attacks would return, but to Kaiga's surprise, Mayuki was able to send his attack flying with a powerful blow. So both of them crossed glances, and instantly, they launched themselves against each other. Although the difference was not clear, Mayuki's power was able to overcome Kaiga's power. However, Kaiga's skill in combat was unparalleled, since she was able to connect several blows, which were able to enrage the beautiful goddess. Her battle would last for thousands of years, because they both seemed to have unlimited energy. So as millions of years passed, both warriors began to have feelings for each other, so they became partners. I want to have a son who possesses the capacity of creation as I have. I understand, and it's okay, let's have our son. Both gods were able to create the first offspring of the whole place. That's right, Zeno-sama had been born, but Keiga would soon realize that that warrior, despite being born with an overwhelming power, had the consciousness of a simple child. So Keiga, in the same way, would offer to create a new warrior who is able to protect him. Since the little Zen possesses your ability of creation, this new warrior will possess all my ability in battle. But Mayuki would completely refuse because Mayuki's real plans were to absorb Keiga to stay with all his power and his skill in combat. I don't agree, Keiga, since we have only one child who will be able to change creating life. Mayuki, I know, but you have to understand that this warrior doesn't possess the fighting ability. He only possesses overwhelming power. No, Keiga, I don't want you to keep on the subject. Mayuki would leave the place at a great speed along with Zeno-sama. However, Keiga, possessing almost unlimited power, would begin to channel a large part of his power and his abilities, so he would begin to create a powerful warrior, who be a prodigy in battles, and his power doesn't stop growing. It had already been a few months since Mayuki had left with Zeno-sama, so in all that time, Keiga was about to finish his long-awaited creation. But he would notice how Mayuki's power had suddenly risen, as well as his speed, and was about to get to where this one was. Damn, I told you no! Now I'm going to end your life and absorb you and your damn creation! Divine Paralysis! Angelic Restraint! Keiga's visual power had grown so amazing in a way that all this time leaving Mayuki motionless was not difficult to him. So Keiga quickly would grant him all the required knowledge, and a large sphere of energy would move throughout the universe so that he would not be affected by the great battle. Mayuki was able to destroy the mental power, so at the moment both warriors began to exchange millions of blows at amazing speeds. Keiga was taking a beating due to a lot of his power being bestowed on his creation, so on this occasion, he had been able to be completely outclassed. No, I'm not gonna die for nothing, you damn. Since you're such pathetic conditions, I'll make it clear to you. I always wanted to keep your power, but I still needed you, and you're already a hindrance to me. Keiga, with her last reserves, was able to teleport behind Mayuki, so she would use a big explosion with her own body. But the power she possessed was not able to end Mayuki's life, so at the end of that big explosion, Mayuki would be seen furious with multiple wounds all over her body. But what made her angrier was that she wasn't able to. Damn worm, I knew that I had granted a great power to your creation, so I will find her and I will keep all the power that you've granted her. Mayuki, while trying to collect energy, would fall to the ground just like too much blood spreads all over the body. That's right, that explosion, despite not possessing the power to be able to end his life, he was able to enter his entire energy system, so it was absolutely impossible for him to channel energy. You unhappy worm! I swear I'll finish with your pathetic creation, no matter what it costs me! Mayuki, with all the power he felt, was able to create the first angel. That's right, Daishinkan had been created, so his job was to guide Zeno-sama in the order and keep her equally protected. I promise that I'll do everything in my power to find the warrior who's able to leave her in this state, milady. Daishinkan, with his great skill in creation, was able to create the king's palace at all, placing Mayuki in one of the rooms so that he's able to fully recover. Daishinkan would teach Zeno-sama everything about creation. Thanks to Mayuki had granted him the required knowledge, so after a few thousand years, Zeno-sama was able to create 18 universes, which, thanks to Daishinkan, created the gods, the angels, and the Supreme, which all had a primary role in maintaining the balance in each of their universes and give life. Just like the angels should guide their gods in each of their tasks and be their teachers. Meanwhile, in a very distant place of all the 18 universes, despite having millions of years, the warrior's body was still in formation, since Keiga was not able to completely complete it. But with the little warrior, despite being a fetus, was able to have self-awareness, since he knew that all created beings were to look for him and annihilate him. So he would camouflage himself in Universe 7 in a warrior race called the Saiyans. On that planet, he spent millions of years until a moment in which his body had been completely formed. Just like all the knowledge that had been granted to him, so he quickly teleported to an inhospitable planet. With all this great power, I'm able to even speed up my metabolism to quickly reach my adulthood, and that's what I will do. The little warrior would begin to channel all his power, with which he would be able to even cause various havoc around the place, but having previously placed an energy barrier, absolutely nothing happened. That warrior, named Kakarot, was able to reach his adulthood, so he wanted to test all his power, and even master each of his skills that his father had transmitted to him. As far as I know, I have a brother, who at this time is called the King of All. This will be very interesting because I know that at some point I'll face him. Kakarot, having despite reached his adulthood, he would start meditating as the sudden change had been able to affect his power as well as abilities. Meanwhile, in the realm of All, Daishinkan was very thoughtful. Who was the warrior who left my lady in terrible condition? After millions of years, no such warrior has appeared. Did he die? Die! I'm really bored. How about we do something? I agree with you, great Zeno-sama, but tell me, what is it that you would like to do today?
It seems to you if we fight again, please, because despite possessing so much more power than you, you're able to always beat me in fights.
Of course, my lord, there's no problem. And that's because you have the power of creation, and I possess the skill in combat. For that reason, I'm charged to protect you, my lord.
I also want to become much more powerful and be able to have the ability that you have in Daishinkan's combat.
Both warriors have gone into one of the training rooms that were in the palace, so they began to exchange several blows. Returning with Kakarot, he would realize how out of the 18 universes created, 6 of these universes possessed absolute evil.
I wouldn't mind if these universes wipe out everything existing, but I have to improve my skills and better to wipe out negative energy barriers.
Kakarot would begin to move at incredible speeds to Universe 13, so at the time of arrival, he was able to observe, like the whole universe, specialized in slavery and death, so that the god of that universe maintains a life of luxuries and comforts.
It'd be a shame if he ends up with all his pawns.
Kakarot, of an arrow technique with that Mayuki had previously, was able to destroy everything that existed in that universe, which would attract the attention of the god of destruction. That's right, the last 6 universes no longer possessed guardian angels to his power to be able to even overcome them. The god at a great speed would prostrate himself in front of Kakarot. I'm not interested in knowing who you are, but I'm going to end your pathetic life right now. I'm not going to forget that you were able to end my slaves. Kakarot was about to say something, was tied up, but as he had hundreds of battles, he was able to dodge the blow which had been aimed in his blind spot, which even surprised the warrior in front of him a little. Hundreds of years ago, with that simple move, I was able to end the life of a super warrior, which shows me that you have some talent.
Even if you don't believe me, this is my first battle. You'll be the one whom I will be able to demonstrate all my skills.
The somewhat annoyed god had thrown himself against Kakarot since he was being underestimated. Both warriors began to exchange several blows. However, despite the fact that Kakarot had no experience on the battlefield, he was able to compare himself to a god of the highest level. So the more the battle went on, the skills began to turn in favor of Kakarot, since at the moment Kakarot was able to connect a powerful kick in the face of Genshi, which had made him fall to the ground very badly wounded. The damage he had done to her had been incredible.
No. Oh, this hurts. It's the first time a warrior's hurt me so much. Not even the High Priest possesses all the power of his blows.
Kakarot would begin to approach that god, so he would take him by the hair.
I've heard something very interesting. Do you want to know? Tell me who is the High Priest?
Don't say stupid things. Everyone knows who the High Priest is, you worm. Kakarot was able to put his hand in his heart, so he ended his life without any mercy.
I have to possess the necessary information, and according to my knowledge, my father, my brother Zeno, he's pure-hearted, but I have to be ready in case I have to face him.
Kakarot would go to Universe 14. That's right, Kakarot had planned to end the life of the 6 gods who possessed negative energy, as their power was the highest of the 18 universes. Kakarot had headed towards the planet of the god of Universe 14. After having ended the life of Genshi, the god of Universe 13, Kakarot, at the moment of arriving at the planet, would notice as an incredible negative energy, he tried to bend it. However, Kakarot would release much more power, with which he was able to neutralize that energy, while from his back, a warrior was able to put his hand on his shoulder, which left Kakarot a little amazed, since he wasn't able to read his movements. Are you lost, little friend? I'm gonna count to 3. If you're still on my planet, I'll end your existence. Kakarot, of a great Pyrute, would be able to release a great kick, but for that god, it was completely easy to dodge his blow. So with a great power, he would hold Kakarot by the face, sinking him all over his planet. Kakarot would release much more power, with which he was able to get rid of the powerful grip, taking a little. I have so many years without fighting, but I plan to enjoy this battle like you have no idea. I offer you a chance to live, but you've completely wasted it.
The power this guy possesses is amazing. I can't believe it. His power is so much that even my body trembles. It's nothing compared to the other worm.
Sora would start walking towards Kakarot, which, with each step, hundreds of disasters were caused all over the place. But at the moment, a new power would be unlocked from Kakarot's body, having been able to adapt to the Saiyan race, so at the moment, in the same way as if it were a memory, he was able to observe his creator. My son, you are my greatest creation, and being able to adapt to that warrior race, your power will increase in an incredible way, so you will be able to even access transformation that they even do not know of its existence. Sora had launched himself against him, however an amazing power would be released from Kakarot's body. At the same time, all his hair turned a golden color, and lightning strikes fell all over the place, destroying a few parts of the battlefield.
I feel like my power has been multiplied by at least 50 times. I'm ready to fight with you.
Both warriors began to exchange hundreds of blows, which on this occasion were capable of causing some damage to Sora, and this would make him angry, releasing all his power, with which even every planet in his universe would be destroyed. Kakarot would be surprised since he didn't understand that his enemy had much more power. So at the moment, Kakarot would be surprised and, with a great blow, was sent flying, falling to the ground with incredible brutality. From that attack, you're no longer able to stand up anymore. But to his surprise, Kakarot would stand up once more, and instead of his power starting to decrease, he would start to increase, which left him surprised. I don't know what you are, but I'm sure that you're not an ordinary god, so I plan to finish you right this instant. Sora had launched himself against him, but a powerful beast roar had made him retreat hundreds of meters. Since the sonic slingshot had caused incredible damage, instantly Kakarot had appeared in front of Sora, beginning to massacre him with blows. Since on this occasion, the anger that transformed him granted him the same way was incredible. So he would be able to quickly torture Sora, but Sora, being an expert on the battlefield, was able to, which began to mark each of the veins through which the energy was transmitted. Kakarot would throw a powerful attack at him, but Sora, with extreme difficulty, was able to dodge it. I don't like to ask for help, but if I don't, this wretch is gonna kill me. Sora would try to communicate with the god of Universe 16, but before the god was able to respond to his call, he would be taken out of his thoughts with a powerful blow that would make him fall to the ground, vomiting large amounts of blood.
You turned out to be a very powerful warrior, unlike the god trash of Universe 13, but I was still able to finish you off.
Did you end Genshi's life? Kakarot would hold Sora by the hair, so he would ask him the same question about the Great Priest. But on this occasion, Sora would tell him who the Great Priest was. just as he was in charge of protecting the king of the all, Zeno-sama.
Wow, so a warrior with the fighting ability of Mayuki possessed. This would be more interesting than I thought.
Kakarot being able to end Sorat's life, a warrior was able to grant him a powerful blow. He was being able to send Goku flying to a very distant planet because the power of that blow had been of another level.
Well, well. It's a surprise to see you in these conditions, Sorat. I knew something bad was happening to you since you're very rarely communicated with me.
You must be careful. He's a monster. I've awarded him hundreds of hits, and I have been cut several of his energy veins, but he's able to stand up again and again. Kakarot at a great speed would begin to exchange several blows with the new warrior who had arrived, which would leave the god Tristan surprised, since after fighting with his companion, his power should have decreased. But in the same way, he was able to put in multiple predicaments since his blows had caused great damage to his internal system. I have to help him. Otherwise, I'm sure that wretch will be able to end Tristan's life. Sorat was beginning to channel large amounts of energy into each of his wounds so that they would be able to heal, but the damage being so great, they weren't able to fully restore themselves. The blows and attacks I received from that wretch have caused me a damage that is even difficult for me to repair. Sorat being taken out of his thoughts when a powerful sphere of energy was able to collide with him, causing him incredible pain. That's right, Kakarot had the knowledge and about the power that both gods possessed, and if they joined, they could be a threat.
I'm sure that when I master my power completely, they won't be able to do anything against me, but it's not the time.
Tristan wasn't able to do anything to stop that attack because he was regenerating his body as a powerful roar was almost able to take his life. Miserable, I felt you were killing me with a simple slingshot of Sonic, but when we fight together, we'll finish with you. That's right, Sorat was able to withstand that powerful attack. However, his power had decreased in an amazing way, so he would be on guard. It's not time to heal these wounds, because if I'm not able to help Tristan, this guy will end up separating us. Both warriors then put themselves in a battle pose, so they had thrown themselves against Kakarot, the duo of gods, was able to grant some blows to Kakarot, which are almost capable of putting him out of combat. So instantly, with a great burst of energy, they tried to end his life. But Kakarot, without giving up, would respond in the same way. However, the difference in powers was clear, because at the moment, Kakarot would be defeated in that exchange of powers, falling to the ground very badly wounded on the edge of death. Yes, now your end has come, you worm, good for nothing. I can't believe that guy is without a god has been able to give us so many problems. Both gods would throw their last attack against Kakarot, which its end seemed inevitable. However, in his mind, his father was able to bow down before him. My son, you can't die. I will show you a technique which you can use, but the price to pay will be hell. Because after this technique, you'll feel like all your bones are destroyed for week 1.
No matter the price, I'm a father. I'm not gonna die in this place. I'll bear it.
I knew you would say that, my son. This technique is called Kaoken, with which your power is multiplied 1,000 times, and it is the lowest. It's compared to unlimited power, but only for the next 5 minutes. I trust you.
Thank you, Father. I knew this wasn't the day of my death. Kaoken!
Kakarot, at the moment of activating the technique, an incredible power would be felt, with which he was even able to disintegrate the attack that was aimed at him. At the same time, both gods would fall to the ground on their knees, because the pressure was as if a superior being was in front of them, which even made it difficult for them to breathe. What's going on? How have you been able to unleash all that power? No, charred, since Kakarot's aura would rise in an amazing way, being able to leave absolutely nothing of his enemies.
I'm surprised that the so-called Great Priest possesses a power similar to the Great Power. I have to become much more powerful.
Meanwhile, in the realm of all, a small rumble would be felt all over the place, which would draw Daishenkin's attention. What was that little rumble? It's come from my lady's room. Daishenkin, when he entered that room, was surprised to realize how large amounts of energy were traveling all over his body, but the spiritual form of the beautiful goddess would prostrate in front of Daishenkin.
Great Priest Daishenkin, I've been able to wake up, and by feeling so much vital energy, I can realize that millions of years have passed. You have done a good job.
Thank you, my lord, but where were you channeling all these gigantic reserves of power?
I'm channeling them from my authentic power, the power that useless Kage destroyed, so you have nothing to worry about.
I understand, my lady. Do you want me to inform you about your return? If you have any request, you can let me know and I'll gladly fulfill it.
I really appreciate Daishinken, but at the moment I just want to become able to be back completely, so it'll take a few more years.
Understood, my lady. In that case, I'll withdraw.
Daishinken will withdraw from Mayuki's room, while at the moment hundreds of shadows and even souls could be seen spreading from the same floor, since the powerful Mayuki was feeding on the power of the beings from beyond, snatching all their soul. The first existence of the whole place, Mayuki would begin to devour millions of souls, without Daishinken noticing. However, Daishinken was very happy since his creator had returned after having spent millions of years.
I don't understand why my lady doesn't want me to report on her return, but she must have her reasons, although I would love to inform everyone about her great return.
Meanwhile, in Universe 14, we can observe a Kakarot as he walked all over the battlefield, but after several steps, he had fallen to the ground with serious injuries, since his entire body, and even his internal system, was completely destroyed by the blows of both gods. But the real reason was the price to pay for the Hyper Kaoken, which required an amazing endurance to be able to maintain the technique. My body hurts too much. I don't know how to recover. But by his mind, hundreds of memories of his father's abilities, it could be observed that's right, Keiga, he had not left his son helpless, since he had transmitted to him all the abilities that he had created after having lived for millions of years. So Kakarot's entire body would be enveloped in a great cloud of energy. While his entire body healed at an incredible speed, his internal energy system began to transport much more energy. But it did not cause any harm to Kakarot, since everything was restoring every part of his veins that were destroyed. Really, thank you very much, Dad. Every day I'm more prepared, but I have to become much more powerful to defeat the new enemies. So after about 2 months passed, in which Kakarot had completely recovered, but the power he had obtained after having recovered was a complete outrage. Since this time, his base state, the one very familiar to the Hyper Kaoken that he had used against both gods, which even left him surprised to the same. Wow, this is amazing! I didn't think I'd be able to possess all this power. I have to train to fight with the other gods. Kakarot would begin to meditate since he had enough knowledge to be able to increase his power without having battles. He only maintained battles to have a better experience against his other enemies. Meanwhile, Mayuki had been able to collect millions of souls, so his body had recovered almost completely. So Mayuki would try to stand up, but to his surprise, at the moment of standing up, he would fall sharply to the ground, vomiting too much blood, while his entire internal system went out of control. That's right, his own body was rejecting all the power that had been eaten from every soul. No! My power is gone again! Damn it! What happened? I was able to absorb much more power in the past. But Keiga appeared in front of Mayuki in her spiritual form. It's a pity that the little Zen, I have granted him in essence about every living being, and with this, no being will be able to absorb his soul. Only thought about the gods, since mortals, they wouldn't be able to dominate him. But it's a surprise what you've done. You bastard. How could you even see the future? How did you know I was going to feed on the power of hundreds of souls? From the moment when you refused to form a descent in my image and likeness, I knew what your true purpose was. Mayuki would pounce against Keiga, but he himself would disappear as he was only a spectral form. Mayuki would fall to the ground, not being able to do anything. You're lucky that to this day is not the end of your life, but when that warrior's in front of you, you'll feel the real terror. I'm not afraid of anyone. I was able to beat you. There's no being more powerful than you, so don't brag. I don't care if you believe me or not. I'm just informing you, so you better start training cleanly. That essence would spread throughout the kingdom of the All, while Mayuki was very upset by the humiliation that Keiga had given her. I promise that I'll end every hope you have. You'll not be able to do anything against my queen, let alone come back to life. Returning to Universe 14, Kakarot was ready to set off towards Universe 15, so he would immediately start moving all over the place at amazing speeds, all over outer space, while saying, let's hope this god is much more friendly, since I don't want to continue ending those lives of those insects. I just want to exterminate the beings of the kingdom of the whole.
Kakarot would arrive to where the powerful god was, but unlike the power of the previous 3 gods and power that emanated that goddess, it was very tiny, which even made that goddess blush a little.
I'm so sorry. I don't think to have Nadia of use today.
Don't worry, but are you really a goddess of destruction?
That's right, sir. I'm a goddess of destruction. Even if my power's not so great, I always try to strive to get to survive from the Heavenly Four.
4 Celestials? Who are they?
When they pass by, please be quiet or they'll end my life.
The day had passed quickly, so by nightfall both were making their way towards Nin's palace. However, one of the 4 Celestials would appear in front of Kakarot.
Kakarot, get out of here! Thanks to you, I was able to realize the value of life, as well as how much I'm worth. I plan to give my life for you. Get out!
Don't say stupid things, Nin. This damn talker, he's not even the chosen one, so his power must be mediocre. The Celestial had rushed against Kakarot, being useless, since as it were a hologram, Kakarot had disappeared, appearing on his back so a great terror could be observed on the Celestial's face, since with that movement, he had finished with dozens of gods, and these died without even knowing that he had hit them. Kakarot, without making a single movement, was able to release an incredible pressure, with which he would leave the Celestial unable to move. But to everyone's surprise, the Celestial was very determined. He was able to get rid of the pressure while rising to the top of Nin's planet, and his power did not stop growing, as even this time it seemed to be an unlimited power.
Where are you getting so much power from? This isn't a power that belongs to him.
But Kakarot, being the descendant of Kega, the first being of the multiverse, with his great visual power was able to observe as the energy of all the planets that were around him began to enter his entire body. That's right, this Celestial fed on the power of the celestial bodies of the entire universe, so instantly, like a flash, he was able to deliver a powerful blow to Kakarot's stomach. This happens to you for underestimating me. So you are the damn guy who has ended the life of 3 supreme gods. But you are nothing more than a simple worm. Kakarot being hit with all that power was not being prepared. He had fallen to the ground with a big wound, so the Celestial would start laughing. But Kakarot's whole body would start to heal quickly, and the confidence of that Celestial would lead him to ruin, because instantly Kakarot would stand up and a big sky-colored light had been able to pass through everything around him. That's right, Kakarot was able to reach the Super Saiyan Blue, but the power was completely incredible.
Don't worry, Nin. You're not a bother, but I have to leave now as I want to fight with the last 2 supreme gods. Please, Kakarot, don't kill the last 2 gods, as they are from a pure heart. Just try to talk to them, or take me with you, please.
Okay, Nin, we'll go together so we could create an alliance anyway. I have to find that dam. The latter would only think, so instantly at a great speed they began to leave all over space, being able to quickly take to Universe 16, in which Kakarot was surprised to observe a god, since he had the appearance of a simple child.
Have we come to the right place? I can't believe the god of Universe 16's a boy.
The guy named Bastion with a great blow was able to send Kakarot to fly, since it had seemed to him a lack of respect. Kakarot would fall to the ground, and at the moment, he was dragged down a few mountains due to the power of Bastion's blow.
Nin, how long has it been since we saw each other? I don't know if you're with this bastard because of your will, but I plan to end his life because of that lack of respect for my person.
Nin, before being able to say anything, Bastion had disappeared, starting to give an authentic beating to Kakarot, who was not able to observe all the attacks since out of 10 that he was able to observe, the god connected 30 to him. That's right, Goku was only able to observe a small part of all the blows that were being given to him, because the speed of the enemy was overwhelming. Kakarot, in a lucky move, was able to deal him a big blow, which made him fall to the ground, but in a single blow, was able to even make him vomit large amounts of blood.
I could tell that this god has great physical power and incredible speed, but his weak point is endurance, because in one blow, I was able to do a great damage to him. Yeah, damn, that hurt me too much. I won't forgive you, even if you beg for your life.
The angry god had launched himself against Kakarot, but on this occasion, although Kakarot was still at a disadvantage, he was able to exchange several blows, which at every moment caused much more damage to the little god.
I can't believe it! Kakarot will be able to beat the lightning god, which he was able to beat any of us because of his great speed.
both warriors were able to deal damage to themselves, a big blow at the same time, with which both fell to the ground out of combat. Kakaroto because he had received millions of blows, while Bastion had received several blows, but out of an overwhelming power, returning to the Kingdom of the Whole, Mayuki had been able to stand up again, since his body had rejected all the absorbed energy, so he would be called Daishinken.
Dai, isn't there somewhere where I can be able to fully recover?
Of course, if my lady. I'll take her to one of the heavenly rooms. Her regenerative power is amazing. Both warriors entered that dimension, in which Mayuki had the intention of leaving with a much greater power than had in the past.
I swear that I'll finish with that warrior that you've created. The only creation that can exist is Zeno-sama and Daishinken.
Wow, how much are they not able to move that simple pressure? Don't make me laugh. I thought they were much more powerful than that. Kakarot, using an energy sword, was able to cut his leg a little, and due to the pain stimulus, he was able to move and stand in front of this imposing warrior.
But if it's Shiro, the treacherous demon and the most powerful god of all universes, even the celestial ones avoid conflicts with Shiro.
So long no see, you goddess of Universe 14, Neen. I don't know what they want to do with this Saiyan, but if he's been able to beat up other companions, it's because he possesses great power.
The warrior, no matter how much his negative energy is, does not exude any murderous intention as far as I can tell. He only wishes to measure my powers.
Kakarot, without trusting himself, would access the Super Saiyan maximum power. But because of Bastion had caused him multiple injuries, he had been able to obtain a great Zenkai, which even his speed on this occasion was able to greatly increase. Wow, you've been able to free yourself from my pressure, and your power is not low at all. You leave me amazed. Kakarot, being about to say something, would be thrown with a great pressure towards an uninhabited planet, which at the moment of impact would be destroyed by its entirety. But that demon with an unnatural speed would begin to massacre Kakarot, which, with even of his blows, felt like even his life was taken away. So he would try to defend himself, but even his speed was much higher than the speed of Bastion.
Damn it! I'm not able to get rid of his punches. They do incredible damage to me. I don't think I'll be able to withstand that long if I keep getting his punches.
Kakarot would be sent flying back towards some rocks, but due to the power of the blow, he would be dragged a few meters back. So Shiro would be prostrated in the air. I'm surprised at the stamina you possess, but you won't be able to do anything against me since I'm only using 40% of my power. I can't believe it. Shiro's power was said to be unlimited, but watching him fight in front of me, I'm not able to believe all the power he possesses.
I can't believe Kakarot's not able to do anything against him. He thought that with the power he possessed, no god was able to face him.
Shiro would begin to approach to where Kakarot was. He had even returned to his base state, so all his power had decreased in a great way, but at the moment in which Shiro would throw multiple spheres of energy at him to knock him out of combat, to everyone's surprise, Kakarot was able to dodge each of the spheres with incomparable precision. So the moment Kakarot opened his eyes, a great pressure would fall on everyone present, while his eyes would turn a silvery.
What's that power? Weren't you all using your power? Don't underestimate me.
But Kakarot said absolutely nothing because at the moment his body would continue to release much more energy. That's right, Kakarot had reached the perfect Ultra Instinct to its maximum power because he was the son of the powerful god Keiga, the first god of everything existing. And Kakarot, being his pure son, his creation, possessed an incredible level of learning. At the moment, as if it were a glow, a great light would rise all over the place, while Kakarot could be observed as his hair changed to a silver color, which it even made him observe much more dangerous and intimidating.
What happened to Kakarot? It's the first time I've seen that transformation.
I don't know what kind of transformation it is, but the pressure it's exuding is amazing. I can feel how the pressure of all of them collide and it doesn't bend.
This is a bit strange. My pressure is capable of bending any warrior, even the Heavenly Four, but the pressure if that warrior exudes is amazing.
Kakarot would begin to approach Shiro, who would also do the same, so both warriors, when facing each other, Shiro would throw a blow to him. But to surprise, Kakarot this time was able to dodge his fist. But at the moment, Shiro would be sent flying with his incredible power, which after millions of years would make him vomit some blood, which left him very surprised.
How great that you're a Saiyan. I want you to give me the battle I've always wanted. Both warriors began to exchange millions of blows, but the battle this time was very balanced. While Shiro began to increase his power little by little, so as not to fall behind the power of Kakarot, meanwhile in the Kingdom of the Whole, Mayuki would begin to deal with each of his wounds with his own power, with which this time he didn't cause any damage, as there was no external power. I hope you're ready, Keiga, so you'll only be able to watch as I end up with all your hope, damn it. From the moment, Zeno-sama would appear in front of Mayuki. From what Dai has informed me, you're my creator, but I want to play with you. It's not time, as I'm still recovering from my injuries, but rest assured that in a very short time, you'll have the best game of your life. Are you serious about that? In that case, I'll be looking forward to that game very much. The moment Zeno-sama left, Mayuki's gaze would completely change. Damn dwarf, good for nothing. Just let me recover completely. Luckily, you haven't been able to evolve yet, so absorbing you shouldn't be a problem.
My lady, how are you feeling? Is there anything I can help you with?
No, Daishanka, don't worry. I have to do this by myself, as I'm able to heal my internal energy, but I won't appreciate this dimension.
Don't worry, my lady. It's my duty as your creation. I will give you my life for you.
Daishanka would also leave that room, so Mayuki, being mostly recovered, would begin to struggle with herself within that dimension. I have to be prepared since Keiga was much more agile than me on the battlefield, and I guess your son has that quality. I have to train my movements. Mayuki would continue with his great recovery, as with his great training. Meanwhile, returning to the battlefield, both warriors were still very evenly matched, but their battle this time would draw the attention of the deities of the Kingdom of the Whole.
What's going on in Universe 15? Why haven't the four Celestials intervened?
Daishaken would realize how the struggle of both subjects, he was able to overcome the power of the four Celestials with great ease.
This can't be happening, since two gods can't fight each other, so for that very reason we'll end up with Universe 15.
But Daishaken, in a quick inspection of all the 8 universes, had noticed as several of his gods had died, so furious would inform the king of all, Zeno-sama.
Great Zeno-sama, you should eliminate the universes from 13 to 18, so that they don't cause problems, since I'm sure a warrior occurring among themselves.
I can't accept this, so I plan to destroy all these 6 universes completely. Zeno-sama would begin to eliminate every universe that did not have the presence of his god of destruction, and this was noticed by Nin, who would quickly get in the middle of both warriors. Nin, don't interfere. I don't plan to end the life of this great warrior, but I want to test the limit of his power. No, it's not time for this. The useless Zeno-sama has eliminated the universes from 13 to 18 apparently, so we have to get out of here, or we'll die. Shiro and Kakarot likewise began to concentrate, feeling how millions of lives were disappearing quickly. So Kakarot, with the help of his teleportation, would try to leave for Universe 7, but it would be impossible for him. Instantly, a great white light would envelop everyone present. However, Shiro, along with Kakarot, would release all their power, but it was almost impossible for them to be able to withstand the energy of a king of all. But fortunately, they were able to create a dimensional hole, being sent to Universe 6, but Shiro and Kakarot were in terrible condition, using their own bodies so that Nin and Bastion were not affected by the power of a king at all. When they arrived in Universe 6, if it were a meteorite, all the warriors collided strongly with a planet, of which Nin and Bastion were only with several scratches, nothing serious, unlike Shiro and Kakarot, with which their bodies even seemed that they would collapse. Kakarot would return to his base state, but at the moment hundreds of lightning were scattered all over his body. So it is, the power beyond a god and enduring Zeno-sama's ability almost ended his life. Returning to the Kingdom of the Whole,
apparently all those bastards have died. Now there are only 12 weakest and most obedient gods.
Now if we have already got rid of those scum, I hope that now everything they'll have is great prosperity. Both deities would not give it of great importance, without knowing that their greatest rival and even Zeno-sama's brother was in Universe 6, preparing for the reunion with his brother. While Mayuki was also trying to recover in full, Bastion, with his great power, was able to put a powerful barrier in one of the planets of Universe 6 so everyone would rest until they completely recovered.
Nin, you like me are feeling fine. Wait a few hours, we'll be 100%, but I don't know how long it'll take for both of them to recover.
I'm sure they'll both come back quickly with their power being much greater than it is now. Zeno-sama, I hope you're ready for the day of your death.
The powerful god Bastion had been able to create that powerful barrier, but with the power that it had... don't worry, Bastion-sama. You guys can stay as long as you want in my universe. It's your universe.
I appreciate your hospitality, but when we have solved what has happened, we will leave for our universes. I hope you don't mind.
I understand, Nin-sama, and I repeat, there's no problem whatsoever. Both deities would leave, but Vados, she would be a little intrigued by everything that had happened. Meanwhile, in the Kingdom of the All, Mayuki had been able to heal all her wounds in full.
Finally, damn it! I've finally been able to heal these damn wounds. It's time to take over the power of that damn dwarf.
Mayuki would communicate with Zeno-sama mentally, so the King of All would come to his call quickly.
Mayuki-sama, I've arrived. Where are you? What is the game you have in mind?
But from his back, hundreds of golden threads were able to completely neutralize him.
It's a pity that this is the best of the games for me, but not for you, since you will become part of my... Why did you say? I don't understand. I thought we were going to play. Not that you would do this. Your useless mind doesn't fully understand it, but it doesn't matter. Your power will now be mine, and with that, you will be able to help me with my power will rise in an incredible way.
Mayuki would begin to absorb all the power of Zeno-sama, so Zeno-sama would begin to feel an incredible pain. His screams were evident, but in that dimension, nothing and no one was able to help him. While Mayuki was nourishing himself with all the power of Zeno-sama, but as surprising as it may seem, when Mayuki was nourishing himself with all the power of Zeno-sama, a very ancient seal in the same body had been activated. That's right, a seal from Keiga, which was able to, for Zeno-sama, to access his combat form when his essence feels in danger, so all the power that Mayuki had absorbed would be taken away from him, and with one mighty blow had sent Mayuki flying.
Damn, I can't believe you call yourself my creator. You've tried to end my life. Now I'll end you myself, damn it.
Furious, Mayuki would stand up while releasing all her power in a surprising way, so instantly both launched themselves against the other, but the difference was obvious, because even though Zeno-sama possessed so much more power, Mayuki was still a little weakened. Zeno-sama did not know how to fight, so it was very difficult for her to keep up with Mayuki, who was in every exchange of blows tried to knock him out of combat to be able to absorb him calmly. However, Zeno-sama didn't allow it.
Damn garbage, you have to bow down to me. I'm your creator. I'm your queen. So you let yourself be absorbed once and for all. I'm not gonna give my life without fighting, so I'm going to die fighting. I won't be a part of you. In that case, you'll be much worse for you, since I don't want you to suffer, but apparently you have set your heart on having a painful death.
Mayuki, with much more aggression and power, would begin to massacre Zeno-sama. That's right, on this occasion, although Zeno-sama threw millions of spheres of energy against Mayuki, she dodged them without any difficulty, because she had great control of the battlefield, something very different from Zeno-sama. So at the moment, Mayuki was able to grant him a powerful blow which made him fall to the ground very badly injured. Zeno-sama, with everything his power, he would try to stand up, but it was impossible for him since large amounts of blood were spreading all over his body. So Mayuki was starting to get closer, as if this was a warrior at the top of everything. But she was, since even the king of everything was not able to do anything against her. I didn't want you to suffer, but since you have insisted in not following my orders, I've had no other choice. Now you'll be part of my... Mayuki on this occasion would begin to absorb a power of Zeno-sama in its entirety. That's right, Zeno-sama, not having energy, was no longer able to defend himself. He just felt like his life was completely taken away. So after several days, Mayuki was able to absorb it completely. However, it was costing him to be able to assimilate all the power of Zeno-sama, since in the same way, Zeno-sama possessed a little of the power of Keiga. So Mayuki would start with his great meditation.
When I finish assimilating all this power, I'll be able to absorb the useless Daishanken, and I'll be ready to finish that damn good-for-nothing creation of Keiga.
Mayuki would begin to it with his assimilation, being able to make all of his sea of energy expand much more, and even the veins of his entire body began to assimilate all the power of Zeno-sama. Meanwhile, in Universe 6, a few months had already passed in the same way, in which both warriors had awakened, but their internal system was completely shattered, since being able to withstand the power of a king at all, it was incredible.
Damn it! Getting my energy flow back will take me about 6 months. I don't have all that kind of time to recover. Why don't you have that time? Do you have to do something? I feel that you guys deserve me to tell you the truth about my origin, about Zeno-sama, about this whole multiverse, so I will.
Kakarot would begin to tell how he was created, as he was the younger brother of Zeno-sama, but he possessed the prowess on the battlefield, but the one who called herself Mayuki, one of the first creations, betrayed its creator, so he'd been wandering for millions of years. So, for that reason, your power is incredible despite being only mortal.
I knew that you weren't an ordinary warrior, since even geniuses aren't able to advance at that speed. But I have to have enough power for when Mayuki of the Face. I feel that that'll be very shortly.
Kakarot-sama, there's this place called the Heavenly Water, but the palace is not so far away that even the god or an angel takes about 1 month to reach that place. But it is said that the tests to be able to drink the heavenly water are too many, although of course the legends say that it releases your power, and if your internal system's destroyed, it's able to restore it completely and becoming much more resistant.
And with that, what you said is enough. If you wish to stay in this place, I'll understand since this trip is only mine.
Neen would at once place her hand on Kakarot's shoulder.
You are not alone, Kakarot. I don't know about my other companions, but for my part, I plan to accompany you and do everything possible to make it go well.
To know the heavenly water. What fun. Of course, count on me.
My condition at the moment is unfortunate, but of course you can count on me. I have already lived for many years.
I want to know if that heavenly water is a myth or reality. All the warriors began to move quickly through each of the 12 universes so that they had arrived in a few minutes. That's right, but instantly they reached the edge of Universe 12. From now on, our real journey begins. This was previously the limit of the 18 universes, but it remains the same. All the warriors entered that empty space, so instantly they began to move at amazing speeds. Meanwhile, in the Kingdom of the Whole, Mayuki had been able to master the power of Zeno-sama to 70%, so at that moment he would come out of that dimension. Observing Daishinken, Mayuki was quickly going with the intention of putting him out of combat to absorb him. But Daishinken would notice his mistress, while she had a very serious, "It is my joy, my lady, that you have awakened, and the great Zeno-sama disappeared. Well, I have been able to feel how the power became gigantic. At the same time, it became tiny, at times even surpassing the power of the great Zeno-sama."
So it is all true. A damn Kago worm. I really leave his successor. I don't plan on being able to absorb Daishinken, since he currently serves me, being more alive than being set apart of mine.
My lady, with the disappearance of the king of everything, I'm sure it has to do with that gigantic power. So you're left to the mandate of the 12 universes.
In that case, I want and arrange all the power of the gods and angels be with their guard up, since a warrior like the one you define is definitely a powerful warrior. We cannot be with our guard down.
As you order, my lady. At this very moment, I'll communicate with all the gods and angels.
Daishinken at the moment would communicate with each god and angel, being able to provide them with the information required, so that they are able to meet the expectations of Mayuki. I have to have the whole divine world on alert, because if that Saiyan comes from behind, I'm sure he'll be able to do to me terrible harm.
Meanwhile, the warriors would continue approaching that place, but no matter how much they advanced, it seemed to have no limit, so they had stopped for a moment.
My body's grieving since Zeno-sama's trying to race us. Let's slow down a little. Kakarot, don't worry. I can help you, because if we want to stop Mayuki, we must make an effort.
This was how each god on this occasion were able to help out Kakarot, while Mayuki creating an army with the new power he had obtained. After the terrifying moment that the Z warriors had experienced, Goku and Vegeta realized that Beerus and Whis were not on Earth. They had disappeared just moments before the shadow creatures appeared on Earth. This is because Daishinken discovered that Zeno-sama had been killed by his father and immediately summoned all the angels and gods of destruction. In the majestic realm of all, Daishinken, the high priest, summoned all the angels and gods of destruction of the existing universes. The atmosphere in the hall was unusually tense, and concern was reflected in the faces of those present. Daishinken, with his usual calmness, prepared to share the disturbing truth he had discovered. Angels and gods of destruction, the time has come to face a powerful truth. Zeno-sama, our beloved king of all, has been slain.
Silence fell over the hall. The angels and the gods of destruction exchanged looks of disbelief and dismay. No one expected that such a tragedy could occur, especially at the hands of someone so powerful.
My investigation revealed that the one responsible for this abominable act was Zeno-sama's own father.
The news resounded like a somber echo in the room. Everyone present processed the shocking revelation. The omnipresent figure of Zeno-sama, the supreme deity, had been shattered by his own protagonist. Mohito, Sidra's angel, spoke in a worried voice. How is it possible that a being as powerful as Zeno-sama's father could have committed such an act?
That is a question for which I still have no answers. But now we must face the consequences of this event. The stability of the multiverse is in danger.
Erak, the god of destruction of Quitella, asked, "And what measures will we take in the face of this threat? What'll happen to the throne of Zeno-sama?"
That is a question we must discuss and resolve. For now, the throne remains empty, and our duty is to maintain peace and balance. But before we make hasty decisions, we need to fully understand the magnitude of this situation.
Beerus and Wisp prepared to inform the gods of destruction and angels of all universes about what they had witnessed while on planet Earth with Goku and Vegeta. The Hall of the Realm of Everything was filled with celestial beings, each one expectant and worried about the news they were about to receive.
Attention everyone! We have crucial information to share about the events that have been unfolded.
Before we are summoned here, the father of Zeno-sama appeared on all the planets of the multiverse. Surprise was reflected on the faces of those present. Murmurs and whispers filled the room, as the gods of destruction and angels exchanged looks of disbelief. His visit was not simply to report the death of Zeno-sama. He announced the holding of the tournament that would determine the survival of the planets in each universe. Additional rumors filled the room, creating a constant buzz of concern. The gods of destruction and angels wanted to understand the implications of such an announcement.
He informed the rules of the tournament and the intentions behind such a competition, but it's necessary that we all work together to get answers and face this threat. It is time to join forces and overcome this crisis. The fate of our universes is at stake.
As the gods and angels absorbed the gravity of the situation, in every corner of the Hall of the Realm of Everything, conversations and plans were brewing to confront the mysterious tournament that threatened to upset the balance of the multiverse. Uncertainty hung in the air, but the determination of the divine beings was determined to face the unknown that lay ahead. In the Hall of Everything, Daishinkan, the High Priest, sensed the imminent arrival of extremely powerful entities heading for the different planets of the multiverse. His face reflected seriousness as he prepared to inform all the angels and gods of destruction present of the coming threat.
Gods and angels of destruction, the time has come to face a new and challenging threat. Entities of great power are headed towards the planets of our universes, and their goal seems to be a direct confrontation with the strongest warriors of each world.
The expressions of those present became serious. Aware of the gravity of the situation, Daishinkan continued with determination.
It's crucial that we move quickly to protect the strongest warriors of each planet, regardless of which universe they belong to. The threat we face does not respect universal boundaries, and we must act with unity to preserve the balance.
Vados, the Angel of Champa, raised his hand.
How do you plan for us to move, Daishinkan? We each have responsibilities in our universes. I understand the complexity of this situation, but the magnitude of this threat requires immediate action. I suggest that every angel and god of destruction move to the planets threatened by this unknown force. We must prevent the strongest warriors from being defeated before we can fully understand our enemies.
Sounds like a sensible plan, Daishinkan. If we all work together, we can protect our warriors and gain more information about these powerful entities. Each angel and god of destruction nodded in agreement, accepting the need to act immediately. They moved quickly to the various planets, casting aside universal barriers in a joint effort to safeguard the multiverse.
May the wisdom and power of each of you guide this effort. Let us not underestimate this new threat. Our duty is to protect the existence of our universes.
With those words, the angels and gods of destruction dispersed, leaving the Hall of All in preparation to face a challenge that transcended universal boundaries and demanded the collaboration of all divine beings. Uncertainty hung in the air, but determination to preserve the balance of the multiverse guided the powerful beings in their joint mission. The angels and gods of destruction quickly teleported to the threatened planets, each determined to protect the strongest warriors on the various planets. In the blink of an eye, the skies lit up with flashes of divine energy as Awamo and Ewin, Cognac and Quitella, Matanu and Geen, Wissambiris, and the other angels and gods of destruction headed toward their assigned destinations. The planet Thraxis Nocturne lay peaceful in the corner of the cosmos, its nocturnal luminosity radiating a tranquility that was about to be disturbed. In the vast space, Awamo the angel, with his small book in hand, and his god of destruction Ewin, an imposing figure with a stern gaze, detected the arrival of a shadow creature, a minion of Zeno-sama's father. The creature, shrouded in malevolent darkness, descended with malevolent determination towards Thraxis Nocturne. Ewin, without hesitation, deployed his energy of destruction while Awano stood by, hoping to resolve the conflict without a bath of chaos. "Creature, your darkness will not be tolerated in this realm. Stop your destructive plans." The shadow creature emanated a guttural growl, its presence emanating an unnatural energy that distorted the space around it. The space battle began with an explosion of opposing forces. Ewin launched destructive beams, while Awamo used his speed to dodge the attacks and assess the situation. "Ewin, this creature's stronger than we imagined. We must be cautious." "I know, Awamo, but we can't let him destroy Thraxis Nocturne. We must give our best." The shadow creature, agile and evasive, responded to the attacks with dark energy waves that distorted space. The battle spread across the firmament, leaving traces of destructive energy in its wake. Ewin tried to anticipate the creature's movements. However, the shadow creature proved to be agile and adaptive, countering every strategy with an unmatched dark force. "Our conventional methods don't work. Ewin, we need to combine our forces." "I agree, Awamo. It's time to show them the true power of destruction." Awamo and Ewin merged their energies, creating a flash of light that defied the surrounding darkness. The shadow creature, perceiving the threat, intensified its own energy, generating a collision of cosmic forces that shook space itself. The battle reached a fever pitch, with cosmic explosions lighting up the scene as Awamo and Ewin struggled to contain the darkness. The struggle took place not only on the physical plane, but also on the spiritual one, where the will to protect Thraxis Nocturne was pitted against the ruthless ambition of the shadow creature. The fusion of Awamo and Ewin unleashed a dazzling energy that eclipsed even the nocturnal luminosity of Thraxis Nocturne. The gold and violet glow enveloped the divine couple as they prepared to face the dark threat looming over the peaceful planet. "It's time to show the true extent of our power, Awamo." The shadow creature, aware of the growing threat, rushed towards them with supernatural speed. Awamo, with his keen perception, anticipated every movement of the creature, allowing the couple to dodge its onslaughts with heavenly elegance. "Keep calm, Ewin. We must synchronize our movements to counteract their darkness." Ewin nodded and unleashed a series of destructive energy blasts that lit up the space around him. However, the shadow creature responded with amazing agility, dodging every attack with meandering movements. The battle became a cosmic game of strategy and speed. The angel Awamo and the god of destruction Ewin soon realized that in order to defeat this entity, they would need a coordinated attack that transcended the limits of their individual abilities. In a moment of perfect timing, they unleashed a gale of combined energy. Awamo channeled the energy of destruction while Ewin released violet flashes of destruction. "Focus your energy, Awamo. Let's get rid of this darkness once and for all." Awamo nodded and joined the attack with determination. The fused energy of both angel and god turned into a spear of golden and violet light that pierced through space with an impressive speed. The shadow creature, caught in the torrent of power, let out a heart-rending howl as it was enveloped by the luminosity. The impact was abysmal, generating an expansive wave that shook the cosmos.
The darkness that enveloped the creature began to dissipate, revealing its twisted and weakened form. Awamo and Iwin, exhausted but triumphant, stood on guard ready for any eventuality.
We have managed to contain their darkness, but we can't let our guard down.
The shadow creature, now visibly weakened, recoiled before the imposing presence of Awamo and Iwin. The light had prevailed over the darkness in the cosmic corner of Thraxis Nocturne. The divine couple remained firm in their duty to protect the planet that this creature wanted to destroy. However, the battle was not yet over, and the fates of the planets remained uncertain in the vastness of space. After the shocked combined attack of Awamo and Iwin, the space around Thraxis Nocturne was vibrating with the residual energy of the cosmic battle. The shadow creature, apparently weakened, remained suspended in the cosmic void, enveloped in a dark glow that seemed to absorb the surrounding light. The divine couple watched cautiously, aware that the fate of Thraxis Nocturne was still hung in the cosmic balance.
Iwin, something's not right. The darkness of that creature seems to be getting stronger instead of weaker. It seems that our attack has absorbed by her, but it shouldn't be possible. How can he transform our energy of destruction to his own power?
The shadow creature, now surrounded by a more intense aura, began to change its shape. Its twisted figure became more defined. His eyes shone with a malevolent lucidity. The darkness emanating from her was becoming denser, distorting the space around her.
You have underestimated my true potential, angel and god of destruction. Your energy has strengthened me beyond your comprehension.
The divine couple prepared for what was to come next, aware that the threat they faced had evolved. The shadow creature, now empowered by the absorbed energy, charged towards them with renewed speed and ferocity.
We need to be more cautious, Iwin. It seems that every blow we inflict makes her stronger.
Understood, Awamo, but we can't allow this darkness to devour Thraxis Nocturne. The battle resumed with increased intensity. The shadow creature attacked with bursts of dark energy that cut through space, while Awamo and Iwin responded with flashes of golden and violet light. The cosmic dance of lights and shadows painted an epic picture in the vastness of the universe. Each blow and backlash echoed like thunder in space, distorting reality itself. Awamo, with his keen perception, tried to anticipate the movements of the dark creature, but the dark entity proved to be unpredictable. Iwin, with his energy of destruction, sought to weaken the creature, but his attacks seemed to be absorbed and turned into an additional source of power.
Every time we hit her, her power increases. We can't go on like this.
We must find a way to counteract his ability to absorb our energy. Do you have any ideas, Awamo? Awamo pondered for a moment, his angelic mind working in search of a solution. Meanwhile, the shadow creature, aware of its opponent's confusion, took the opportunity to launch a surprise attack. A wave of dark energy enveloped Awamo and Iwin, distorting their perception and weakening their defenses.
Ha 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 ha! Your resistance is useless. I am the embodiment of darkness. His light cannot prevail before me.
The situation was becoming more and more desperate for the divine couple as they struggled to resist the shadow creature's attacks. Awamo turned his attention to the small book he always carried with him. An idea began to form in his mind.
Iwin, I think I have an idea, but we need to synchronize our attacks in a different way.
Explain yourself, Awamo. Awamo explained his plan to Iwin, who nodded in understanding. Both God and Angel prepared to put their strategy into practice. The shadow creature, confident in its superiority, launched into the attack again, but this time Awamo and Iwin were ready to respond differently.
Now, Iwin, combine your energy of destruction with mine in a more controlled way.
Iwin nodded and channeled his energy to Awamo, who, in turn, merged it with his. Instead of launching a direct attack, they created a sphere of combined light and energy that floated between them.
Do you think this tactic will change the outcome? We'll see.
The energy sphere began to slowly expand, emanating a glowing light that contrasted the surrounding darkness. The shadow creature, curious but confident, watched the development with disdain. The fused power is not only destructive, but it also has properties that counteract its absorption capacity. The combined energy sphere, now reaching its maximum expansion, released a wave of light and energy that enveloped the shadow creature. This time, instead of absorbing the power, the darkness that characterized her began to dissipate.
What is this? My power should not be weakened.
We create an energy that goes beyond destruction and creation, one that neutralizes the darkness that you're trying to absorb. The shadow creature, weakened by Awamo and Iwen's strategic counterattack, retreated as the combined energy sphere continued to exert its effect. The light emanating from the sphere began to purify the darkness surrounding the entity, revealing its original form before corruption.
It seems our tactic's working, but we must make sure we contain it completely.
We can't let our guard down. Let's continue with the strategy until the creature's completely neutralized. The space battle continued, but this time Awamo and Iwen had the upper hand. His sphere of combined energy continued to exert its purifying effect, dispelling the darkness that threatened Thraxis Nocturne. With each passing moment, the shadow creature grew weaker. The light of hope began to shine in the corner of the cosmos that was once on the verge of destruction. The shadow creature, weakened by Awamo and Iwen's strategy, retreated into space, its distorted form twisting as the combined energy sphere continued to purify the darkness that enveloped it. In a desperate attempt to regain his strength, the shadow creature began to explore its surroundings, looking for an opportunity to turn the situation in his favor.
My power is weakened here. I need to find a place where darkness prevails.
While exploring, the shadow creature noticed something that favored him. His eyes flashed with malevolent anticipation as he discovered that this world was called Thraxis Nocturne because it was a planet plunged into shadows. The dark entity smiled malevolently as he realized that this planet could provide the darkness needed to revitalize his power.
Ha 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 ha! Thraxis Nocturne, a feast of darkness awaits me!
With amazing speed, the shadow creature launched itself towards the planet, traversing space with great speed. Awamo and Iwen, aware of his intentions, followed closely, determined to stop any attempt by the shadow creature to plunge into the darkness of the planet. As the creature approached Thraxis Nocturne, the darkness of the planet seemed to intensify, as if responding to its presence. The planet's nighttime atmosphere shone with a faint luminosity, offering a fascinating contrast to the surrounding stars.
Iwen, we must prevent the creature from being filled with dark power. If she succeeds, it'll be even more difficult to stop her. Understood, Awamo. We'll not allow the darkness of this planet to fall into the hands of that entity.
The shadow creature descended on Thraxis Nocturne with a terrifying impetus. As she approached, the darkness seemed to take her in, enveloping her with a gloomy welcome. The shadow creature began to absorb the darkness of the planet, its twisted form vibrating with a new energy as it filled with the essence of Thraxis Nocturne.
Ha 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 ha! Yes, this darkness will strengthen me. Nothing can stop me now.
Awamo and Iwen, wasting no time, headed towards the shadow creature, determined to stop its advance before it became unstoppable. The battle in the shadows of Thraxis Nocturne was about to take a very drastic turn.
We cannot allow this darkness to completely corrupt this creature. We must stop her before she becomes invincible. Your previous strategy was effective, Awamo. Let's keep working together to counter his power.
Deep in the shadows of Thraxis Nocturne, the intense presence of the absorbing shadow creature did not go unnoticed by the most powerful warriors on the planet. Turles, Bardock, Raditz, Frieza, and his brother Cooler felt the darkness increasing around them and, with a mixture of amazement and concern, headed toward the epicenter of the threat.
Something's not right. The darkness in this place is getting denser.
Whatever it is, we cannot let it threaten Thraxis Nocturne. Let's investigate.
The warriors moved nimbly across the gloomy terrain, advancing towards the source of the darkness. As they got closer, the atmosphere became heavier, as if the shadow itself wanted to resist their advance.
The darkness is different. I feel a strange pressure. I'm not afraid of the dark, but this is unusual. Cooler, stay alert.
Understood, Frieza. Let's find out what's going on.
Suddenly, a wave of dark energy erupted before them, revealing the shadow creature that was absorbing the darkness of the planet. His twisted figure and malevolent aura were as evident as the threat he posed to Thraxis Nocturne.
Warriors of this planet, his darkness feeds me. Soon I will be unstoppable.
We won't let you destroy Thraxis Nocturne. Get ready, creature!
The warriors went on the attack, each unleashing their unique power against the dark entity. Turtles unleashed his evil aura, releasing bursts of destructive energy. Bardock channeled his Saiyan fury into powerful blows, while Raditz and Cooler coordinated their attacks to create a symphony of destruction. Frieza intensifying the struggle.
This creature doesn't know who he's up against.
Your resistance is useless. Each blow only increases my power.
The shadow creature, powered by the darkness of Thraxis Nocturne, absorbed attacks with defiant ease. Each impact seemed to strengthen rather than weaken it, plunging the warriors into the disturbing reality that they were facing an enemy that fed on its own darkness.
It's not working. He's getting stronger and stronger.
We need to change our strategy. We can't let it absorb all the darkness on the planet.
While the warriors struggled to find an effective strategy, the shadow creature, with its distorted laughter, continued to absorb the darkness, becoming more and more powerful. The Battle of Thraxis Nocturne's survival was at its most critical, and the warriors knew that they had to find a solution before the dark entity became invincible. The dark aura released by the shadow creature enveloped the warriors of Thraxis Nocturne, gradually weakening them. The warriors struggled to stay on their feet as the entity's malevolent energy infiltrated their bodies, obscuring their vital forces.
This is it. Too much.
I can't let that defeat us like this.
The warriors, despite their bravery, were overcome by the darkness emanating from the aura of the shadow creature. At that critical moment, when hope seemed to be fading, a heavenly light pierced the shadows. Owamo and Ewin, the angels charged with protecting Thraxis Nocturne, arrived on the battlefield.
The darkness emanating from this creature is breathtaking. We cannot allow it to take over this planet. Time to show these warriors how to fight true darkness.
The angel spread his wings, and together with the god of destruction, they advanced towards the shadow creature, his presence radiating a luminosity that defied the malevolent nature of the dark aura. As it approached, the dark entities sensed the arrival of divine beings and turned to face the new threat.
More insignificant beings. His light will be devoured by my darkness. Don't underestimate the power of light. Darkness cannot resist the true essence of creation.
Owamo extended his hand, and a purifying light enveloped the battlefield, counteracting the dark effect of the creature's aura. Ewin, on the other hand, deployed the energy of destruction, creating a perfect balance between light and darkness. The shadow creature, for the first time, felt the pressure of forces that it could not easily absorb or resist. The conflict took a turn, and the battle became more intense as the angel and god of destruction faced the dark entity with the unique combination of light and destruction.
The real struggle starts now. We'll protect Thraxis Nocturne from the darkness you represent.
The fight between the angels and the shadow creature reached impressive levels, with bursts of energy illuminating the dark planet of Thraxis Nocturne. Meanwhile, the warriors, freed from the debilitating effects of the dark aura, watched the fight, hoping that their planet would not be destroyed. In the dark skies of Thraxis Nocturne, the stage was transformed into a cosmic battlefield, where divine light and malevolent darkness collided in an epic confrontation. Owamo and Ewin, the guardians of this planet, displayed their celestial power with a grace and precision that defied description. The glow of the purifying light emanating from Ewin and Owamo spread across the space, illuminating the shadows that the shadow creature was trying to grasp. Ewin and Owamo's every move was a ballet of divine energy, as they gracefully dodged the dark attacks and countered with unstoppable force. Owamo's wings shone with a resplendent light, like stars in the night, as he invoked the very essence of creation to repel the dark forces rising up against him. By his side, Ewin radiated an imposing presence, with his penetrating gaze fixed on the creature as it defying the darkness itself. The shadow creature, on the other hand, was fighting with an impressive ferocity, trying to resist the overwhelming power of Ewin and Owamo. Their dark attacks were launched like ravenous shadows, seeking to consume the divine light that surrounded them. However, every attack was countered by the impenetrable force of Ewin and Owamo, who remained firm in their purpose to protect the planet. The clash between light and darkness created a symphony of cosmic energy, with flashes of light and bursts of energy illuminating the firmament.
The light will always prevail over the darkness. Your power is formidable, but it cannot resist the purity of creation.
You can't stop me. I'm the very embodiment of darkness.
Darkness can be powerful, but the real strength lies in balance, and we represent that balance. Iwin and Owamo continued to deploy their energy with amazing precision, creating light barriers that repelled the attacks of the shadow creature. Every movement of Iwin and Owamo was imbued with a divine elegance and grace, while the creature struggled with a desperate ferocity.
Our mission is to protect the harmony of the universe, and that includes protecting this planet from your darkness.
You can't stop me. I'm inevitable.
The shadow creature launched waves of dark energy, but Iwin and Owamo easily repelled them, maintaining an opposing presence in the midst of battle. Every blow of Iwin and Owamo resonated with the force of creation, while the creature struggled more and more desperately.
The darkness can be a challenge, but our determination's unwavering. We'll not let you destroy this planet. Your power may be formidable, but it cannot equal the eternal light of the universe.
The battle continued with Iwin and Owamo and the shadow creature facing off in an epic clash between light and dark. In the midst of the struggle, Father Zeno silently watched from his kingdom, perceived the magnitude of the conflict. With an imperceptible gesture, he decided to intervene, taking Iwin and Owamo to a mental plane where they could confront the shadow creature in a terrain beyond the physical. In a flash of dazzling light, Owamo and Iwin were transported to an ethereal realm, where the laws of the universe twisted and blurred.
Where are we, Iwin?
We have entered the realm of the mind, a place where reality is molded according to the will of the observer. Here the real battle be fought in the deepest corners of our being. While Owamo and Iwin were transported to a mental plane by Father Zeno, the shadow creature continued its fierce assault against the warriors of Thraxis Nocturne. Turles, Bardock, Raditz, Frieza, and Cooler, the most powerful warriors on the planet, rose up against the darkness that threatened to consume their home. The shadow creature, imbued with a dark and malevolent aura, hovered over them with an overwhelming presence. He distorted his energy, enveloping everything around him, tearing reality itself apart, and threatening to plunge the planet into an abyss of chaos.
We won't let you destroy our home, shadow monster.
We, the warriors of Thraxis Nocturne, are not afraid of the dark.
We have faced much greater dangers than you, creature.
We will fight together to protect our world.
The shadow creature launched a powerful dark attack towards the warriors, but they responded with relentless ferocity. Turles, his eyes shining with determination, unleashed a shower of destructive energy, summoning the very essence of nature to channel it in a torrent of energetic attacks. Their powerful attacks cut through the darkness with devastating precision, creating dazzling explosions that lit up the planet's night sky. Bardock, with his fiery ki and indomitable spirit, channeled his energy into a powerful attack. His fists were burning with a searing intensity as he launched a concentrated burst of energy towards the shadow creature, challenging its strength with its own. Bardock's attack resonated with the determination of an invincible warrior, willing to give everything for the protection of his world. Raditz and Cooler, united in battle, joined in a coordinated assault on the shadow creature. With fluid and coordinated movements, they launched bursts of energy from different angles, creating a barrier of attacks that surrounded their enemy. The shadow creature struggled to defend itself against the combined onslaught of the two powerful warriors, but its resistance was challenged by the determination and skill of Raditz and Cooler. Meanwhile, Frieza, with his golden form glowing with a golden aura, was preparing to unleash his full power against the shadow creature. His eyes shone with a cold and calculated determination as he focused his energy on a devastating attack. With a graceful and precise movement, Frieza unleashed a burst of golden energy that swirled with unparalleled destructive power, threatening to envelop the shadow creature in a mantle of fire and destruction. The battle escalated as the warriors of Thraxis Nocturne bravely faced the darkness that threatened their world. Every blow, every burst of energy echoed through space, creating a spectacle of destruction and determination. Meanwhile, on the mental plane, Owamo and Iwin were engaged in a metaphysical struggle against Father Zeno, an omnipotent entity whose presence radiated an aura of indescribable power. Iwan and Awamo, aware of the gravity of the situation, desperately sought the intervention of Father Zeno to counter the threat of the shadow creature. However, to their surprise, Father Zeno solemnly informed them that they could not intervene directly, since the balance of the universe had to be kept intact even in times of crisis. Awamo and Iwan, although unhappy with Father Zeno's decision, understood the importance of respecting the laws of the cosmos. With determination, they plunged even deeper into the metaphysical struggle, using all their ingenuity and power to find a solution to the crisis unfolding in Thraxis Nocturne. As a confrontation on the mental plane reached its climax, Awamo and Iwan found themselves face to face with the imposing Father Zeno. His figure radiated an indisputable authority, but also an aura of mystery that aroused restlessness in the Iwan and Awamo. Awamo, with his usual serenity, broke the tense silence that filled the ethereal space. "Father Zeno," he began in a firm but respectful tone, "could it be you that... Were you the one who sent the shadow creatures to destroy the planets?" Father Zeno, with an unflappable expression, nodded slowly. "I did it for the good of the universe," he replied calmly. Although his voice resonated with a power that shook Iwan and Awamo, sometimes drastic measures must be taken to preserve the cosmic balance. Iwan, with a flash of indignation in his eyes, could not contain himself anymore. "But that doesn't justify the chaos and destruction you've unleashed!" he exclaimed, his voice echoing with unshakable determination. "There are other ways to restore balance without resorting to violence and darkness." Father Zeno observed the god of destruction and his angel with a penetrating gaze, as if he were evaluating their words and their posture. "Your compassion is admirable, but sometimes it's necessary to sacrifice a few pieces to save the entire board," he said in an enigmatic tone. Awamo and Iwan exchanged determined glances. Although they respected Father Zeno's authority, they knew that they had to follow their own principles and convictions. With courage, they prepared to challenge the omnipotent being in front of them, willing to fight for what they believed was right, even if it meant facing the divinity itself. The air on the mental plane was charged with tension, as Awamo and Iwan prepared to face Father Zeno. Their divine auras collided in a show of titanic forces, as Iwan and Awamo prepared to challenge the supreme being in front of them. Awamo, with his heavenly book in hand, looked at Father Zeno with determination. "Father Zeno, although we respect your authority, we cannot allow you to continue with this destruction," he stated firmly. "We'll fight for peace and balance in the universe, even if it means standing up to you." Father Zeno, with an impenetrable calm, nodded in recognition. "Your courage is admirable, but you will not be able to stop me," he replied calmly. "The fate of the universe is in my hands, and I'll do whatever it takes to preserve its balance." Without further words, the battle began with a burst of divine energy. Awamo unleashed his celestial power, summoning rays of light that he threw against Father Zeno, while Iwan threw waves of energy with determination. However, Father Zeno showed impressive resilience, deflecting every attack with surprising ease. The fight went on for what seemed like an eternity, with Iwan and Awamo and Father Zeno trading punches and counterpunches in a cosmic dance of power and skill. Every movement was imbued with a supernatural force, while the mental plane trembled under the intensity of his conflict. However, as time passed, Awamo and Iwan began to feel the weight of their opponent. Father Zeno's power was overwhelming, and every blow Iwan and Awamo received weakened them even more. Despite their bravery and determination, it seemed that they were fighting against an impossible-to-defeat force. Awamo, panting from the effort, looked at his companion with concern. "Iwan, we can't go on like this," he admitted sincerely. "Father Zeno's too powerful for us." Iwan, though exhausted, nodded determinedly. "I know, Awamo, but we can't give up," he replied firmly. "We must keep fighting, for Thraxis Nocturne, and for all beings in the universe." With a final effort, Iwan and Awamo gathered their forces to launch a final attack against Father Zeno. However, the Supreme Being easily overcame them, deflecting his power with a contemptuous gesture. Father Zeno looked at Iwan and Awamo with a mixture of admiration and regret.
They're brave, but their struggle has come to an end,
he solemnly declared.
Accept your defeat and let fate take its course.
With a resigned sigh, Awamo and Iwan surrendered to Father Zeno's overwhelming strength. Although they had fought with all their heart and soul, they knew that they could not defeat the Supreme Being in front of them. Father Zeno, with a compassionate look, looked at them benevolently.
Rest now, my brave creations,
he said gently.
His bravery will be remembered throughout the universe.
Father Zeno, with an unflappable expression, extended his hand towards the exhausted Ewin and Iwamo. In an instant, a powerful burst of cosmic energy emanated from his palm, enveloping Iwamo and Ewin in a dazzling radiance. Ewin and Iwamo screamed in agony as Father Zeno's energy enveloped them, feeling every fiber of their being torn apart under the relentless power of the Supreme Being. Their bodies, imbued with divine light, were slowly consumed in the maelstrom of energy, fading little by little into the aether of the cosmos. Iwamo and Ewin fought with all their might to resist the cataclysm that engulfed them, but it was useless. The power of Father Zeno surpassed them in every respect, and they were soon reduced to mere shadows of their former glory. With the last gasp, Iwamo and Ewin exploded, leaving body parts all over the mental space, dissipating into cosmic nothingness while their essence merged with the universe. At that precise moment, we return to the earthly plane, where the fierce battle between the most powerful warriors of Thraxis Nocturne and the shadow creature was reaching its climax. Bursts of energy and thunderous crashes echoed in the air, while Bardock, in the middle of the combat, glimpsed Iwamo and Ewin, who were lying unconscious on the ground, enveloped in a halo of divine light. Surprise and dismay were reflected on the faces of the warriors, who momentarily stopped their frantic struggle upon realizing the situation. Bardock, his eyes wide open, watched in horror as Ewin and Iwamo's bodies began to shake, emanating flashes of energy that increased in intensity with each passing second. A tense silence enveloped the battlefield as everyone watched the scene in disbelief. Suddenly, a heart-rending explosion echoed in the air, making the earth and sky tremble. Bardock and the other warriors were thrown back by the force of the explosion, protecting themselves as best as they could from the shockwave that was spreading around them. When the afterglow of the explosion faded, what was left was a smoking crater where Iwamo and Ewin once stood. The warriors slowly stood up, stunned by what they had just witnessed, as the shadow creature, now shrouded in an even denser darkness, prepared to lash out again before the protecting warriors of Thraxis Nocturne. Bardock clenched his fist determinedly, feeling a mixture of sadness and fury burn inside him. He knew that they must continue the fight, not only for the honor of their planet, but also in memory of their brave fallen guardians. With a war cry, the warriors rushed into combat again, determined to avenge the loss of their comrades and protect their home from the darkness that threatened to consume it. After the devastating explosion that killed Iwamo and Ewin, the warriors of Thraxis Nocturne gathered in a circle, still stunned by what had happened. Bardock, with a gloomy look, broke the silence with a grave tone.
Damn it! What the hell just happened?
Turtles, frowning, shook his head in disbelief.
I don't know, but we can't let this sacrifice be in vain. We need to get this thing over with once and for all.
Raditz, with his fist clenched, furiously nodded determinedly.
You're right! Iwamo and Ewin gave their lives to protect this planet. We cannot disappoint his sacrifice.
Frieza, with his usual impassive expression, spoke in a cold and calculated tone.
The death of Ewin and Iwamo should not be in vain. We must unite and concentrate our efforts on defeating that shadow creature.
Cooler, with a serious look, added determinedly,
We are facing an unprecedented threat, but if we fight together, we can overcome it. Let's do it for the honor of Thraxis Nocturne, for the legacy of our brave comrades.
Bardock nodded solemnly, his jaw tense with determination.
So, are we in agreement? We'll fight together until the end and avenge our fallen.
The warriors nodded in agreement, sharing a look of determination and unity. With their hearts filled with determination, they prepared to face once again the darkness that threatened their home. As the warriors prepared to face the shadow creature again, a fierce determination burned in their hearts. Turtles, feeling the energy of the battle, was the first to unleash his power.
It's time to show them our true power!
With a powerful scream, Turtles wrapped himself in an aura of energy. Her dark hair turned golden and her eyes shone with a dazzling intensity. The energy of the Super Saiyan emanated from his being, infusing strength and determination into his entire being. Raditz, inspired by Turtle's example, followed suit.
It's my turn!
With a burst of energy, Raditz's dark hair bristled, turning golden just like his brothers. His ki increased dramatically, emanating a commanding presence that filled the battlefield. Seeing the transformation of his comrades, Bardock also joined the fray.
I can't stay behind!
With a battle cry, Bardock unleashed all his power. His fiery aura enveloped him in a higher golden glow. His energy increased to astronomical levels, propelling him towards a higher form of his race. Frieza, observing the transformation of the Saiyans, did not want to be left behind.
The time has come to show my true strength.
With a burst of energy, Frieza transformed into his golden form of maximum power similar to 100% full power. His body radiating a golden glow. His power multiplied several times, turning him into an unstoppable force that rivaled the sunlight itself. Cooler, feeling the energy surrounding him, decided to join the fight with all his might.
It's time to unleash my true potential.
With a flash of energy, Cooler transformed into his metallic form, his body glowing with a metallic luster. His stamina and power increased exponentially, making him an invincible force that would defy even the gods. With their transformations complete, the warriors of Thraxis and Nocturne once again faced the shadow creature with renewed determination and a power that eclipsed any darkness. In the skies of Thraxis Nocturne, the battle continued as the transformed warriors faced off against the shadow creature, a being whose dark power threatened to devour everything in its path. With each of the warriors unleashing their full potential, the cosmos trembled under the force of their epic showdown. The golden aura of Turles, Raditz, and Bardock, combined with the imposing presence of Frieza and Cooler in their transformed forms, formed a dazzling spectacle in the night sky. Energy flickered around them, lighting up the darkness with golden and silver flashes as they prepared for the final showdown. The shadow creature, sensing his power of his adversaries, emanated a rumbling roar that echoed through the planet. His dark form seemed to twist and distort as he prepared for the final assault.
It's time to end this once and for all!
With a battle cry, Turles lunged forward. His speed increased by his Super Saiyan form. The shadow creature responded with an onslaught of dark energy, but Turles nimbly dodged it, moving with astonishing speed across the battlefield. Raditz and Bardock followed Turles' lead, attacking with relentless ferocity. Their blows echoed in the air, each one charged with the strength of his determination and the desire to protect his home planet. The shadow creature's attacks were swift and fierce, but the Saiyans deftly dodged them, responding with even more powerful blows.
Father, let's keep the pressure on this thing. We can't let it destroy our home.
I know. We're not going to allow this monster to destroy Thraxis Nocturne. Our power is more than enough to end it.
That's right. You taught us to fight with courage and determination. We'll not back down before this creature is destroyed.
Take this!
The shadow creature dodged Bardock's attack with agility, launching its counterattack with its sharp claws.
Careful, Father!
Don't worry about me. I'm more than ready for this.
And take this too!
Raditz's attacks hit the shadow creature hard, but it quickly recovered and counterattacked with a surge of dark energy.
Damn, this thing's tougher than I thought.
We can't give up now. Our planet depends on us.
You're right. Let's show you what we're capable of.
The two Saiyans launched into the air attack once more with renewed determination. Their blows echoed in the air, each one charged with the strength of his determination and the desire to protect his home planet. The shadow creature, although resistant, was overcome by the ferocity of the Saiyans. Turles, with his golden hair flowing behind him, launched a quick series of precise punches, each one carrying with it the power of his transformation into Super Saiyan. His movements were fluid and graceful, as if he were dancing around his enemy, dodging every attack with impressive agility.
There's no escape for you, monster! Your darkness can't compete with the power of the Super Saiyan!
With a battle cry, Turles lashed out at the shadow creature, striking with overwhelming force. Every blow resounded in the air, shaking the battlefield with its power. The shadow creature was fighting desperately, but its attacks seemed weak compared to Turles' ferocity. Meanwhile, Raditz and Bardock were continuing their assault on the shadow creature. Their attacks were coordinated and precise, each complementing the other in a deadly dance of destruction. The shadow creature found itself increasingly cornered, unable to cope with the combined might of the Saiyans.
Come on, Father. We know we can stop this thing.
I know, Raditz. Let's keep pushing until there's nothing left of this creature.
With renewed determination, the two Saiyans redoubled their efforts, launching a series of devastating attacks against the shadow creature. Each blow echoed in the air, carrying with it the weight of his determination and the desire to protect his home planet. Frieza and Cooler were watching the battle intently from a distance, their cold gazes evaluating every move of the Saiyans and the shadow creature. As the fight intensified, they noticed with increasing concern how the shadow creature began to gain more strength, releasing a dark energy that threatened to destabilize this situation.
It seems that the things are getting more complicated than I expected. Yes, the shadow creature seems to be gaining ground. If we don't intervene soon, we could face an even more dangerous situation.
With a cold determination, Frieza and Cooler exchanged a glance before heading towards the battlefield. His presence made itself felt immediately. His overbearing aura flooded the area as they prepared to face the shadow creature.
Looks like we need to intervene before things get out of control. I agree. We cannot allow the shadow creature to wreak more havoc on our planet.
With surprising speed, Frieza and Cooler launched into action, deploying all the power in an effort to contain the shadow creature. His attacks were precise and devastating, each blow carrying with it the weight of his determination and the desire to protect his home. However, the shadow creature was not going to be easily defeated. With a thunderous scream, he split into 4 separate beings, each one darker and more malevolent than the last. The earth trembled under their weight as they advanced towards the warriors, ready to unleash their fury on them.
It seems that this creature has more tricks up its sleeve than we thought. It doesn't matter. We have our own tricks.
Well guys, this is all for today's chapter. I hope you liked it and it was to your liking. Now don't forget to leave your powerful likes, Supreme God level, comment and subscribe. Now without further ado, see you in a new video. Until next time.